Stephen is a 2021 British limited crime dramas TV series. It is a sequel to the 1999 TV film The Murder of Stephen Lawrence. The show stars Steve Coogan, Sharlene Whyte and Hugh Quarshie. It was written by Frank Cottrell-Boyce and Joe Cottrell-Boyce and directed by Alrick Riley. The series was produced for ITV by HTM Television, a joint venture between Hattrick Productions and the producer Jed Mercurio. Based on the true story of the 1993 murder of the black British teenager Stephen Lawrence, the series adapts In the Pursuit of Truth by DCI Clive Driscoll. It follows Lawrence's family fight for justice and the police investigation which finally led to the convictions of two of the killers in 2012. The cast includes Steve Coogan as DCI Clive Driscoll, the lead investigator on the Stephen Lawrence case, Sharlene Whyte as Doreen Lawrence, a British-Jamaican campaigner and the mother of Stephen Lawrence, a black British teenager who was murdered in a racist attack in southeast London in 1993, and Hugh Quarshie as Neville Lawrence, Stephen's father. The show was nominated under a limited series, and Sharlene Whyte was nominated in an actor female category at the 2022 Royal Television Society Awards. This is the second time Hugh Quarshie has played the role of Neville Lawrence, as he played the role in The Murder of Stephen Lawrence in 1999. Stephen was a black British teenager from Plumstead, southeast London, who was murdered in a racially motivated attack while waiting for a bus in Westhall Road, Eltham, on the evening of the 22nd of April 1993, when he was just 18 years old. The case became a cause célèbre. Its fallout included changes of attitudes on racism and the police, and to the law and police practice itself. It also led to the partial revocation of the rule against double jeopardy. Two of the perpetrators were convicted of murder on January 3, 2012. After the initial investigation, 6 suspects were arrested but not charged. A private prosecution, subsequently initiated by Lawrence's family, failed to secure convictions for any of the accused. It was suggested during the investigation that Lawrence was killed because he was black, and that the handling of the case by the police and the Crown Prosecution Service was affected by issues of race. A 1998 public inquiry headed by Sir William Macpherson examined the original Metropolitan Police Service investigation and concluded the investigation was incompetent and the force was institutionally racist. It also recommended that the double jeopardy rule should be repealed in murder cases to allow a retrial upon new and compelling evidence. This was effected in 2005 upon enactment of the Criminal Justice Act of 2003. The publication in 1999 of the resulting Macpherson report had been called one of the most important moments in modern history of criminal justice in Britain. Jack Straw said that ordering the inquiry was the most important decision he'd made during his tenure as Home Secretary from 1997 to 2001. In 2010, the case was said to be one of the highest profile, unsolved racially motivated murders. On the 18th of May 2011, after a further review, it was announced that 2 of the original suspects, Gary Dobson and David Norris, were to stand trial for the murder in light of new evidence. At the same time, it was disclosed that Dobson's original acquittal had been quashed by the court appeal, allowing a retrial to take place. Such an appeal had only become possible following the 2005 change in the law, although Dobson was not the first person to be retried for murder as a result. On the 3rd of January 2012, Dobson and Norris were found guilty of Lawrence's murder. The pair were juveniles at the time of the crime and were sentenced to detention at Her Majesty's pleasure, equivalent to a life sentence for an adult, with a minimum term of 15 years 2 months and 14 years 3 months respectively, for what the judge described as a terrible and evil crime. In the years after Dobson and Norris were sentenced, the case regained prominence when concerns of corrupt police conduct during the original case handling surfaced in the media. Such claims had surfaced before and had been investigated in 2007, but were reignited in 2013 when a former undercover police officer stated in an interview that at the time he had been pressured to find ways to smear and discredit the victim's family in order to mute and deter public campaigning for better police responses to the case. Although further inquiries in 2012 by Scotland Yard and the Independent Police Complaints Commission had ruled that there was no basis for further investigation, Home Secretary Theresa May ordered an independent inquiry by the prominent QC into undercover policing and corruption, which was described as devastating when published in 2014. An inquiry into whether members of the police force shielded the alleged killers was set up in October of 2009. Now, this is a powerful and gripping drama that, of course, deals with the real-life events of the horrendous and horrific murder of one Stephen Lawrence at just the age of 18. The mere fact that 6 young white men decided to kill Stephen Lawrence just merely because he was black is absolutely disgusting and appalling when you think about it. But what makes it even worse is that the police did nothing to investigate it further and instead let these men walk away scot-free. The murder itself was absolutely brutal, with the 6 attackers forcing Lawrence to the ground and stabbing him to the depth of 5 inches on both sides and the front of his body, his right collarbone and left shoulder. Lawrence had literally been standing there with his friend, waiting for a bus, when these 6 youths decided to end his life. This is a powerful hitting drama, of course made even more so powerful because it's a real-life story. But the acting here, particularly from the three main leads, is absolutely perfect and on point. Steve Coogan is such an incredible actor, as he literally can play any type of role. He's a superb comedian, but here he plays DCI Clive Driscoll with a sense of passion, humility, and a man who is trying to do right by the parents of Stephen. I was particularly blown away here by Sharlene Whyte playing the mother, Doreen Lawrence. It's an excellent, poignant performance from her. The show doesn't shy away from the horrific nature of this murder, and it doesn't shy away from pointing a finger directly at the Metropolitan Police to show how apathetic they were towards it. It certainly doesn't cover the Metropolitan Police in any sort of glory. This show is dealing with so much more than just another murder. This is a racially influenced attack, once again demonstrating that even in a country like the United Kingdom, a country considered a beacon of democracy and equality, there is still so much hate and prejudice. But not just amongst the people, but in their very organizations as well. It's an eyebrow-raising and enlightening show that really does not shy away from its subject matter, but rather gets to it very quickly and doesn't hang around as you are taken on a journey in 3 episodes, watching the police painstakingly have to go through evidence in order to connect just 2 of the killers with evidence that is unrefutable. Unfortunately, the other 4 killers managed to get away with the crimes and to this day have never been brought to justice. This is a well-told, well-made, fast-moving and impactful show, and I would highly recommend it to anyone wanting to learn the truth of what is such an awful, horrific murder. Stephen gets an 8.5 out of 10.